These are the very best winter pieces at Uniqlo right now. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This year, I have done a lot of Uniqlo reviews, but one section that I haven't talked about at all are their winter pieces. We'll be doing a deep dive into some of Uniqlo's best and most popular pieces, and then I'll also be sharing with you what are the pieces that I feel like are easily skippable or forgettable in the collection as well. I do have a lot of Uniqlo pieces on the rail here, some are from my wardrobe, and then for the rest, I will be keeping my favorites and sending back the others. If I ever forget to mention which size I took, you'll find that information in the description box down below, and then I'll also include a little recommendation for size. I'm gonna start off with heat tech today, and I'll keep this one short because I know a lot of people know about this already. I've always had a black one in my wardrobe, and recently I decided to go for a cream one as well. This is the ultra warm heat tech line, and it's marketed to be 2.25 times warmer than the regular. So because I have both, I can definitely say that this does feel twice as warm, just because you've got this fluffy fleece kind of lining on the inside, whereas the thinnest one doesn't have that. It's also meant to hold up to temperatures around 0 degrees Celsius, so this is definitely something I'll be packing with me when I travel. If we were to go shopping at the North Face or Patagonia, Arc'teryx, any of these outdoorsy, cold weather brands, you'll find your base layers in either merino or a synthetic. This one here is synthetic. One of the reasons why synthetics are quite popular here is because it does wick sweat and it also dries fast. That's really important for your base layer, and it kind of explains why none of these brands will ever make anything in something like cotton. I thought I would mention this because oftentimes in clothing, I try to avoid synthetics, but there is a time and place, and I do feel like base layers is definitely something where I am okay with it. One of the best pieces in the Uniqlo winter line are these ribbed high neck, long sleeve tops. The reason why I was so interested in these is because I got a short sleeve crop t-shirt in the summer, and that is my most worn piece, I think this year in summer. It's a little bit stretchy, but what I loved about it was that it never lost its shape. I didn't have any necklines that just kind of got very loose and unshaped. It looks perfect, having washed it like 50 times. This kind of reminded me of the winter equivalent of those crop tees. I chose two options here, one in a light grey and one in this very pretty teal shade. These tops are 96% cotton, 4% elastane. So the elastane obviously gives it that nice stretch, and what it means for a form-fitting top is that it will kind of hug the body shape a little bit more. I also find that this fabric, as I said, washes really well so that it keeps that elasticity, which is very important for that base layer. I really don't like a sloppy or loose base layer. I like it very form-fitting for me to then layer pieces over the top. I love the mock neck design. I feel like I can't really pull off a full-on turtleneck as much as I love that cozy look, so mock neck is kind of the best thing for me. It's got the ribbed fabric, which looks really nice, and I definitely prefer the ribbed fabric to just bring a little bit of subtle texture and interest into winter looks. When we think about texture and then we layer on different textures and different colors, you really get the best winter looks. I love this one with that white knit on top and then the gray shell jacket. I think it's super chic with that contrast and mix of fabric. I am so happy with the color range of this piece. Sometimes at Uniqlo, I've got 4 colors to choose from, and to be honest, I hate all of them. But for this collection, they've got a good range of colors, and I actually found quite a few I really liked. It was really nice to see a mix of neutrals and colors, and then also kind of a mix of warm and cool colors in the line as well. These layering pieces I've talked about are definitely some of Uniqlo's strongest pieces, and I also think that not only do you see it right now, but it's also in the longevity of the item. These tend to hold up very well in my wardrobe. Probably the most exciting category is their ultra light down. I think this is one of Uniqlo's most popular winter pieces, and this is the piece that I am most excited about because I got these to bring with me on my Europe trip. The most classic and the most versatile would definitely be the short puffer, and I chose it out in a cream just because I think it would look so nice layered inside a darker coat. I believe that when you're trying to look at the warmth of a puffer, you're looking at the density of the down. So this is 750. So I compared that to some alternatives which were about the same, and they were much more expensive. It is very warm for something that is so incredibly light. These are very packable. You can get them to fit in this small little bag, and I mean, for traveling, that is incredible. I could have gone the more fashion route and gotten something nicer, but those things, sometimes they're so big and they take up my entire suitcase, and I would much rather pack a few more knitwear options or accessories and just keep this jacket very, very compact in my suitcase. When it comes to the aesthetic of it, I actually really like that it's not hugely puffy. Sometimes those just feel a little bit unflattering on me, whereas when it's lightly puffy but still very, very warm, it gives me kind of the best of both worlds. Petite girls, you will love this because it just hits regular length as opposed to too long. Like most puffers, it's got that elastic at the bottom, so you can then cinch it in a little bit. And I find this very, very, very flattering, especially when I want the puffer to be a little bit more cropped. And then of course, when I want it to be more practical, I can pull it down again, but this just makes it so versatile. It's a zip closure, and then we've got 2 additional buttons at the top and then 1 button at the bottom. So it ensures that this whole thing is closed very tightly. The pocket situation is also quite good. We've got 2 pockets and they both have zips on the outside, and then on the inside we've also got 2 pockets, 1 on each side to put anything important. I was looking at the reviews for this jacket, and a lot of the negative reviews I've noticed were from people who were taller, just because it could be too short. And then the other thing is that it used to taper in at the waist and have shape. Now it's more boxy and straight. I really love that because it just feels more versatile, but I can definitely see how that's a preference thing, and if you wanted that taper in, you won't have that in this jacket. One of the things I was going to kind of criticize or just comment on is that the zip feels a little bit kind of small and dainty, and I do like in my jackets a bigger, more sturdy looking zip. But I looked into it and it is still a YKK zip, so nice quality. But also I looked at my boyfriend's Arc'teryx jacket, much more expensive, and I noticed that the zip was also just as small, very tiny. So it's not really negative, I guess, because it must just be the standard for jackets like this, and it's just purely a stylistic thing that I like those bigger zips. I'm going to keep my comments on this one very short because it's pretty much exactly the same thing. So this is the vest version, and I have it in grey. I think that this grey color is very pretty. It's definitely got this purpley undertone. It's got all of the same details as the white one, for example, that elastic to cinch it up, the pockets. I personally feel that I would get more use from the jacket as opposed to the vest. However, if you're a vest person, you don't want too much layering going on in the arms, then this could actually be a better option. This one I don't think I'm keeping just because there's no point of keeping both, but it's still a piece that I would definitely recommend if you were looking for a puffer vest and wanted to layer without the bulk in the arms. I do kind of love the fact that it matches that coat so perfectly. I'll also be bringing that as a bit of a raincoat. So it's really tempting, but no, I've got the white one. This will just be too much duplicating. So now onto the navy one. This one does have some style differences. This one has got the same weight. It's the ultralight down, and it's got that 750 fill power. And because it's so long, it's got the 2 zips. I love that 2 zip function, and I usually won't zip it all the way down until it gets very cold. Now these zips feel a lot more sturdy than the last ones. They're a lot bigger, which is something that no one probably cares about, but I do like. It feels very smooth, and it's just a little bit easier to locate them quickly. A downside for this coat is that in the pockets, you don't have a zip, whereas for the other 2 pieces, you have small zips to close up the pockets. Inside the coat, instead of having 2 pockets, 1 on each side, now you've only got 1. So that's another potential downside. Since the other 2 jackets were cropped, they had the elastic to cinch in the bottom. This one obviously doesn't need that because it's long, but we do have that same elastic around the hood to cinch that in. This is kind of nice because when it's super cold and I no longer care, I think it'll be nice to use the elastic to just completely block out the wind and not have that come through the gaps of the neckline and hood. This one I will also be packing with me when I travel this December, and again, it's so compact, it's so convenient. I think I will be wearing this most days, layered inside that raincoat shell. With your down jackets, to make them last longer and to keep them puffy looking, I believe that you're not meant to store them away folded or flat, and instead just make sure they have enough room to not be compressed. When traveling, I also try to stuff it into the bag as opposed to folding it into the bag, and I believe that just keeps everything more even and it will come out a little bit more fluffy and well distributed rather than flat looking. Before I move on to the next pieces, I do want to give an honorable mention to the wide leg pants. Now, these ones I've talked about in every Uniqlo video this year, but they are my favorite pant from Uniqlo. They're also definitely ideal for autumn winter dressing as opposed to spring summer because they've got a bit of weight and thickness to the fabric. I think it's nice sometimes to repeat talking about my favorites just because I can give you an update of how they're wearing and also just let you know I still love them and they weren't just a fleeting favorite. I can see myself wearing these for a long time as just like true wardrobe staples. So side by side, the cream pair is what the pant would look like if you get them without alteration. The grey pair, I purposely got shortened to a crop length because I wanted that versatility of having long and then also shorter. Both these pants have been in the wash quite a few times and they're still looking really good. So easy to wash, easy to care for, and I do think that these look very sleek on. The style of these are also very comfortable because while it's not like a stretchy pant, the fabric actually has some give to it. So it's not as rigid or tailored to the body as another style might be. These feel a bit more comfortable. I think that these will make a feature in every Uniqlo video I do, just because I think that they're one of my favorite all-time Uniqlo pieces, and for the price, they look a lot more luxe than they are. I've got two more pieces that I would put into my best category, but from this point onwards, everything I'm showing is a bit more balanced. There are often things I really like about these pieces, but there is also something I wish was different. I've got two lightweight knits here to compare. These two pieces actually look like they could be the exact same line, but they're actually two separate items on Uniqlo's website. This grey one is a cotton modal blend, and then the white one is 100% merino wool. So let me now just kind of do a breakdown of why I wanted to compare them. With the cotton blend version, this one is obviously a little bit lighter, and I think especially for winter dressing, if it was wool, at least you have the properties of wool to keep you very warm, whereas this one, because it's cotton and light, it's probably okay for layering, but you would need some much heavier workhorse pieces over the top. What I like about this one is that the fit looks very nice. I think the sleeve length, the body length, all feels very proportionate. And then I also like that this fabric has a bit of drape to it, so it looks nice once I've tucked it in and when I'm ready to wear it in an outfit. The details are very simple and clean, nothing special, but they're also not offensive, and it just looks like a very nice basic. Now with this extra fine merino version, I prefer this fabric, of course. The merino will keep me warmer in the winter. But the reason why I couldn't even get this in grey is because the grey looks so much worse than this one. It's a grey marl fabric and it's got the weirdest colored buttons, and I really didn't like the way that looked. I'll put up a photo on the screen, but the extra fine merino line in general has some funkier button choices compared to the cotton one. Not all of them are bad. The white and I believe the black, they have matching buttons, but the other colors don't. Something else about the extra fine merino is that the fit is not as nice. The sleeves are so much longer, the body is a little bit longer, and I wish that they just made the sleeves a little bit more proportionate to the jumper. I wish we had the shape of the cotton modal one, and then I wish we had the fabrication of the merino wool, and that would be my perfect cardigan. Can you see as I'm holding these two up, how much longer the sleeves on the white one is compared to the grey? Uniqlo's extra fine merino range used to be my absolute favorite, but they have changed the sizing. The arms have gotten much longer, I think across the whole line, and I just wish that they were a little bit shorter. But of course, if you're taller, then they could fit really, really well. I also want to give an honorable mention to the Uniqlo cashmere. So if you'd like to hear my reviews on this, I'll link to my last video down below where I reviewed it in more detail. But it's holding up well, I like it, but there's nothing like ultra special to me in the design or fit versus other cashmere brands. They're all kind of similar. So moving on now to the worst pieces, which are, by the way, not always just like dreadfully awful. Sometimes they're just average or just like normal pieces that you could buy here, you could buy elsewhere. There's nothing too special. And then there are some pieces that might just work for something that you are specifically looking for, but they're not like all-round favorites. We're gonna start today with the fleece, the fluffy fleece. And let me just start by saying that I understand why this could be popular. It's cozy, it's soft, it's like wearing a big teddy bear. It's kind of nice in that way. But just aesthetically speaking, if I wanted to wear this as a fleece where it keeps me warm, I go out in it, wear it inside my coat, I just feel that there are much more elevated options out there. I know something like Patagonia is quite a lot more expensive fleece-wise, but I think that the style they do actually looks super cute and super chic in an outfit, and it also has that same fluffy, cozy feeling. I think for this one, it's just that the hairs are quite long, and I'm also worried that it will look very like matted over time. A personal preference of mine is that for pieces like this, I really like it when it's it's a half zip because it doesn't have that bulk around the stomach area, and that can sometimes happen with the zip. Now, the length of this one is not excessively long. I think it's fairly reasonable. But because I'm petite, I find that it just sits a little bit lower than what I would like. With the puffer jacket, you had the option to shorten it and then to also wear it slightly longer. Whereas obviously you don't have any adjustments here, which makes the shape overall, to be honest, not the most flattering. I am judging this piece like I would a fleece, something I would wear out, as opposed to thinking of it like loungewear. Loungewear, completely different story, super cozy, super soft, and could definitely work. This piece is not awful to me, but I have seen alternatives from Uniqlo and from other brands that just feel so much more elevated. Last year at Uniqlo, I saw this jacket, so much cuter compared to this. This is a knitted short jacket, and I ordered this one purely for review purposes. I wanted to see if I would like the quality and the fit and feel, because it would be an amazing dupe to a lot of the knitted crop jackets I see at Cezanne or at the more premium brands where this style has been really popular. Something I definitely like about this piece is the way it looks. I think that it fits in a very classic way, kind of like my Betty cardigan. The sleeves are not too long, the body is more cropped, and it really does achieve the vibe I was hoping for in a jacket like this. If you're slightly more petite, I think that this jacket will fit you really well. And then if you are taller, then you might find some details a little bit too cropped. So the reason why this jacket didn't make it to one of my favorite pieces is probably the hand feel and composition. This one is 60% cotton, 40% acrylic, and that's a pretty average composition. I would not expect Uniqlo to make, heavy wool pieces without any synthetic, but with cotton, it would have been really nice to see it. To the touch, this one is quite structured, and when we think of cotton knits, we can sometimes think that they're a bit rigid, a bit hard, and this is exactly what this one feels like. Now, nicer brands, when they do cotton knits, you won't feel this as much, but you do get that slightly harsher feeling for this piece. Going back to the aesthetic, I love how textured this one is. You've got a cool knitting pattern throughout the body, and then you've also got a contrasting type of pattern around the neckline, and I think all of that looks very nice. If you're wondering about the warmth and thickness of this, it is quite bulky and chunky. You won't be super warm because it's cotton, but there is definitely quite a bit of thickness to the fabric. Some of my least favorite pieces from Uniqlo are items that are just very forgettable. This is a washable Milano ribbed sweater. This one might have been from the men's collection, so I wanted to try it out and I just simply sized down. What I don't like about this piece is that it doesn't have any texture. For knitwear, I feel like the point of it is that it's cozy, it's textured, it creates some interest. This one has nothing. And the reason it has nothing is because it's not made from wool. It's made from a cotton acrylic blend. The shape doesn't look good, but that's not their fault. That's because I just wanted to try out this men's cut. If something is structured, I think the point of it is that you create a nice shape with it, and that justifies that structured material. Or else, it just kind of looks always, in my opinion, a little bulky. Sometimes I will find something cute in the men's collection, for example, a blazer and a sweater I have, but this was a fail, and I don't really like the texture, the fabric, I don't really like the shape, and there's really nothing special. There's only one pair of pants I'm trying out today, and it's these sweatpants. These are actually pretty decent. I think the material is quite soft, both on the outside and on the inside. They're also 100% cotton, so fabric is really lovely. It gives a very classic fit, not too oversized and not too tight. It cuffs in at the bottom, which is something I always like. I don't like it when it just ends. I like the cuff. The only thing is that the fit is not exactly what I'm looking for. I want something that is maybe slightly thinner in material, but slightly more draped and slouchy. That often is more versatile for me because I really like that very effortless look. This one, I think, because of the thickness and it's a bit more structured, isn't as drapey and flowy and effortless as I want, or as I had imagined getting from a sweatpants. These are not the sweatpants for me, but I do think it's a perfectly good pair of sweatpants if you are looking for something in this shape. Everything I wore and showed in today's video will be linked down below along with sizing, so do go check it out if anything caught your eye. If you enjoyed today's video, I do make fashion videos like this every single week, so I would love for you to go subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Instagram sharing similar kinds of style content if you'd like to say hello there. I hope you're all having an amazing December, and I'll see you soon. Bye!